Broadcasting.
Brew can spread fire. We still gotta reach the fat station.
New notification. Video is paused. Broadcasting only like audio. PS5. Oddworld Soulstorm Enhanced Edition. Home for a live it. Button. Press cross to select. Horizontal list 4 of 14. L1 button or R1 button switch tones. For more content, press the down button. Oddworld Soulstorm Enhanced Edition. Location. Video is paused. Broad.
Like almost like a charcoal. Just remember, I know that pan-searing chicken for so long.
Stand or choose your champion. I'm here, Atreides. I need a blade, except mine. Except mine.
Voilà.
Watch me train this animal. Let me deal with him. It's my burden, Ernie. Why does he take such risks? One thing leads the way. I'm happy to finally meet you. Cousin. Cousin. Is that right? Wow. You wouldn't be the first relative I've killed. May thy knife chip and shatter. May thy knife chip and shatter. She's your pet? Any special attention for the pet? Listen again.
You should have believed. You chose the wrong side. Side? You of all people should know. There are no sides, Reverend Mother.
The life debt has been paid. Spare my father now, and I will be your willing bride. The throne will be yours.
Wie ons is iets wat met die verloop van tyd begin vorm het. Dit was ons weer met mekaar te beklei en soms weer mekaar sal verwissel te maak. Maar op die ou eind, wanneer ek terugkyk, is jy die persoon wie ek betrap.
The holiday buzz is over, but why should the fun stop? Begin the new year with a fresh start and open view. With OV512 and plus more, you already have everything you need for the ultimate family staycation. You've got unlimited access to a month filled with unforgettable entertainment. Cuddle up for those must-see movies. Get hooked on gripping local dramas and keep the little ones delighted with all their favorite kids' shows. It's premium viewing with no monthly payments. OpenView, it's all here, plus more.
A new year, a new mission.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it.
And no, it won't be easy. But we don't slow down. We gear up and push harder. We dodge what's coming, jump when we have to, and run straight at the impossible. Because every twist has a way through, every challenge has a win, and every moment has a chance to go full throttle. So buckle up. The year ahead, we're taking it head on. Full throttle, all year long.
Wanneer 'n oomblik breek, laat die donker sy greep wys. Kom die waarheid uit die skadu's. Word liefde tot die rand gedryf. Skuif die wêreld onder jou voete. En bly net die staan wat moet staan. Die hande draai. Die storie slaan harder. Begin jou jaar met ongelooflike besparings en ons lewer dit vandag nog af met tydsverkelders slegs by Loos.
Tom. Jy sien my eerder dood as 'n uitrusting wat jy uitkies, Veronique.
Dit kan gedoen word.
Ek trek die beste klere aan. Ek kies ek net iets uit 2 jaar gelede se seisoen. En sit jou hands op.
Unlikely to defend.
Incredible, incredible. It's Andre Pollard there with the mistake. It's and Colmore right at the very end have an opportunity. It will be the Greek Douvikas looking for his second goal of the game. Steps up and sends Shepard the wrong way.
Weeks of action, so real blow that for Newcastle because they're pretty much down to the bare bones defensively. Already missing a number of players in there, most notably Dan Byrne, who's part of our coverage on Sky Sports this evening, and they're down to essentially 4 fit and available defenders, so not much that Eddie Howe can do And I think that then turns the question now into whether Newcastle will attempt to bring a defender in this transfer window. I believe they are looking, and I believe they are considering making a move for a defender, especially on the back of that news for Tino Livramento, and given the fact that not just Dan Burn, but Fabian Schär, the former Swiss international defender, is also missing for round about 3 months as well. So bad news for Newcastle this evening.
Yeah, bad news for Newcastle. Let's look at their opponents tonight, Keith, Manchester City. And in his news conference earlier on this week, Pep Guardiola was asked a question about City not winning any silverware last season. He was quick to point out that they did when they lifted the Community Shield. But when you look at the major honours, can a Carabao Cup win really lift and be a springboard for City for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I'm not sure whether the Community Shield counts, Dharmesh, does it, but obviously it counts as far as Pep Guardiola is aware. But it's an interesting question, that, because I relate it back to Newcastle last season, and I was there at Wembley as Newcastle lifted their first domestic trophy in 7 long decades. And I think winning it in March, winning a trophy while the season is up and running, gives football teams a real lift. And I think that would definitely help Manchester City with the run-in. We know that they're doing well in the Premier League, only 6 points behind Arsenal, up in fourth in the Champions League table, just 5 points off the top there as well, and still in the FA Cup. So they're in with a shout in all 4 competitions. A lot different situation now to what we saw from Manchester City this time last year, when they were in that really bad period, when they really were struggling to get a win at all. So things have changed. They've been active in the transfer market. Of course, we see them sign Antoine Semenyo, who could play here at Newcastle tonight, despite the fact he's already featured in the competition for Bournemouth. Something that Eddie Howe wasn't too happy about when it was brought up and raised yesterday at his news conference. But yeah, look, Pep Guardiola's got an amazing history with this competition, hasn't he? He's been in charge. This is his 10th year as a manager at City. He's already won the Carabao Cup 4 times. I think he'd love to get his hands on it again. And as I touched on earlier, just to get that early trophy in the bag and allow them to, build on that as the season reaches the latter stages. But of course, Newcastle want to retain it. They won it last season so well, and what that did for the football club and for the city, those scenes as they took the trophy around the city on an open top bus will be scenes that we all remember for a long time here on Tyneside. So 2 clubs desperate to win tonight, desperate to get a result because it's a 2-legged affair. But I thought a really good point from Eddie Howe at his news conference yesterday. He said, of any team we could play in the country in a 2-legged affair, Manchester City are probably the hardest.
Yeah, it is a tough task, but it promises to be a thrilling game tonight at St James's Park. Keith, thanks for your time for now. Now, Arsenal face Chelsea tomorrow in the first leg of their Carabao Cup semi-final, looking to take a giant step towards winning the first trophy of the season.
This year's improved. You look at now, it's more, I think it's all over the place. You've got Brighton getting a result against United. It's not easy games to call now. However, there's a different kind of ruthless, something different about Arsenal. Yes, they didn't particularly play well against Liverpool. However, they did play a lot of games up until that point. And having said that, I don't think draw's a bad result. I really don't. But there's something different about their hunger and the way they speak to people, like to Sky and to around the place. And even when you go over to the training ground, the first person sees security people, and they're so positive. And I think it's important to have positive energy from security to the kitchen staff to everyone. And I think that's the environment, again, going back to Mikel, he's created.
Arsenal, of course, suffered the disappointment of losing last season's Carabao Cup semi-final to Newcastle United. Mikel Arteta says the players can use that defeat as motivation for the game with Chelsea tomorrow night.
We've been really consistent again in the competition, and now we have to knock another big team out of the competition to be in the final, and that's the mission. Hopefully we learn from last year because it was painful, especially the manner that the games went and the amount of chances that we missed not to go through. But hopefully this year we are better and especially more efficient. The more you are involved in this kind of games, the better, because it gives you a nudge, it brings the team a different kind of energy, and it gives you the sense that the objective is very, very close, and that's a massive motivation for everybody. So we know that we are 2 games away from playing a final. We have to go game by game, and the first one is Stamford Bridge.
Now, Arsenal have injury issues at the back. Arteta revealed William Saliba is a doubt for the trip to Stamford Bridge and said Piero Hincapié and Ricardo Calafiori are both out injured. Hincapié limped off in Thursday night's draw against Liverpool.
Yeah, those 2 not available yet, and the other doubts that we have are Willie and Leo.
Okay, so Hincapié first, you had a scan yesterday, do you know a bit more about the problem or how long?
We don't know yet.
Don't know yet. And Calafiori, how many more?
He's progressing, but we don't know. I think it will matter for a few weeks probably, but we don't know exactly when.
Now, Arteta also reflected on the sacking of his friend Xabi Alonso after he left his job at Real Madrid. He says Alonso won't be short of admirers when he applies for his next job.
Well, I don't have too many details about the situation, so I don't know whether it was Xavi's decision to leave or it was the club decision. So very difficult to give an opinion there. Obviously, whatever the decision is, just wish Xavi all the very best because he's a top person and an incredible coach. And I'm sure that whatever he decides to do in the future, again, will be top.
So, how will Arsenal get on against Chelsea in the first leg of their Carabao Cup semi-final? And you can see it live on Sky Sports Football. Coverage gets underway at 7 p.m. Now, Michael Carrick's return to Old Trafford is expected to be confirmed in the coming hours after he verbally agreed to become their interim head coach until the end of the season. Carrick and the club's director of football, Jason Wilcox, arrived at Carrington this morning. The contractual details are now being finalised by lawyers on both sides, with the club and Carrick keen for the deal to be completed as soon as possible. That's so Carrick can prepare to take training tomorrow. He'll be in place until the summer, when United hope to appoint a longer-term candidate.
Well, the ideal scenario would be to get a permanent man in, wouldn't it? That's pretty plain. But as the boys said, you get a lot more options, choices in the summer. It always happens that way, and particularly after a World Cup as well. So, yeah, you've got this period where you're treading water a little bit, but they'll be hoping to tread it quite well and get in the Champions League, and then they can obviously attract a better quality of manager, you would imagine, if they are in Europe's top-tier competition, if they are back in the Champions League. I think it was the only way forward, in all fairness, to the United owners at the moment.
Now, it's Carrick's first return to football since he was sacked last summer after 3 years in charge at Middlesbrough. He didn't get promotion to the Premier League, but how is his time there seen by Borough fans?
He lost a lot of key players in his first summer, and there's no getting away from how that was a major impact. But even then, he never kind of strayed towards wanting to use that as an excuse. The second season felt about Palms, missed out in the top 6, but still made the Carabao Cup semi-finals and beat Chelsea in the first leg at the Riverside. Last season, Borough made a habit of throwing away points from positions of dominance in games, from positions of power in games. Felt at times last season like maybe Carrick's Borough had been found out in attack. As I said, it felt like at times they were a bit too ponderous and predictable going forward. But then it was his first job as a head coach. So I guess these are all issues that he was bound to have to negotiate at some point.
Now, Carrick returns to Manchester United, having been an interim manager in late 2021 and had a trophy-laden 12 years as a player at Old Trafford. He won 5 Premier League titles and 1 Champions League during his time there. Speaking on Sky Sports FC, Charlie Austin said their current approach of returning to former players from the Sir Alex Ferguson era is holding them back.
The biggest thing for me is it just sounds like Manchester United at the moment is an old boys club, and it's been like that for every time a situation happens or a managerial departure, then we go back to that. So are they making the right decision? Out of the two, I'd go Michael Carrick, yes. But you need to remember also, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was sacked as Manchester United manager and was given £10 million to leave be on his way as well.
So would that be one of the main reasons to not appoint him? I mean, he was in the running.
Yeah, he's in the running, but I think so. Yeah. I do think so. But Michael Carrick is a standout for me over them too. Darren mentions Ruud van Nistelrooy as well. That's where I always go back to the old boys club. But for me, Michael Carrick is obviously the standout out of the three. And listen, I wish him well for the rest of the season.
You don't seem to be particularly keen on the old boys club, though.
Manchester United,
if they were going to go for it, are you saying they should have gone for whoever they want right now, full time, or do you think they could have gone for an interim elsewhere?
Who else is out
rather than
there?
someone who hasn't been involved with Manchester United?
Someone that hasn't been involved in Manchester United, because as you think, everyone goes back to, it's a Manchester United way. Well, you need to get back to what the Manchester United. We're talking about going back to 30 times. But what are Manchester United Football Club at the moment? Like they're a club that are in a complete transition, but they're stuck in that bit because they haven't found the right person for the job. But they need to go back to the bit where, same with Liverpool and same with Manchester United, you've got to earn the right to win trophy.
Up next, we'll hear from Martin O'Neill, back at Celtic for his third spell in charge. But how does his interim period affect the club's business in this January window? Find out shortly.
Hello, the Car Insurance Pro is helping people with older cars switch to Outsurance Essential so they can save on premiums. Only 540 Rand a month. Nice premium. She also gets up to 1 million Rand cover if she damages someone else's car, and valid claims are paid in cash within 5 days. Outsurance Essential is all the cover you need for your older car at just the right price. SMS CAR to 40325 and switch.
South Africa's Lions and Cheetahs will be back hunting for the EPCR Challenge Cup honours this season. Let's break it down to see how the tournament works. 18 teams will be taking part in the second-tier club competition. 3 pools of 6 comprise 8 teams from the URC, 6 from France's top 14, 2 from the English Premiership, and 2 additional invited clubs. Teams earn 4 points for a win and 2 for a draw, with bonus points for scoring 4 tries or more in a match, or for losing by 7 points or fewer. After 4 weeks of matches, the 4 highest-ranked clubs from each of the 3 pools will qualify for the knockout stage. They'll be joined by the 5th-place teams from each of the pools in the top-tier Investec Champions Cup. After the round of 16, quarters and semi-finals, 2 teams will emerge to battle it out in the Challenge Cup final in Bilbao on the 22nd of May.
The family needs an alcohol. Catch every match in 6 languages with analysis by the continent's biggest stars. Live on Supersport, only on DSTV. They played brilliant cricket throughout the whole tournament. It's not just the wins, it's a complete obliteration and dominant performance for the champions